All right. Welcome to the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. As always, I'm Bryant. You see our names on the screen, but those who are listening, I got Keith, Danny, and Steve. They done come to the table. Before we get into it, let's take care of some housekeeping. So, the Iron Table doesn't own the rights to any music used in its segments. We appreciate the talents and crafts of musicians and only use their music to honor their gifts. Also, you can find recordings on our podcast audio and irontable.buzzsprouts.com. And for those that are watching on YouTube, you can also hear us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and of course YouTube. Just search for the Iron Table. There's a second one, but look for us. We're the ones smiling. All right. So it has been a minute since we have been able to get us all at the table because we are busy people and we have yet to record like 12 episodes in one day because we don't want to change our clothes like that. We unless we just throwing on jackets. One day you might see us wear like jackets and everything in the background might look the same. So until then, we like to provide you with fresh content. One day we're going to go live. It might be the Thanksgiving episode or something. Thankful we'll go live and see if we got some questions. But until then, we're just going to chill. So fellas, it's been a minute, so let's kind of do a round robin. I'll end because what I have to say kind of gives us takes us into today's conversation. So let's all not speak at once, or we'll be a choir.
Brother Jones.
Yes, sir. What's good, man?
Doing all right. What you been up to?
Oh man, working. As the late great Michael Jackson said, they got me working day and night. So been busy, in a good way, but just been busy. I mean, it's been a lot. So that's a whole other meeting in itself.
Mm. Okay.
Building, growing, enlarging territory.
New aspirations.
Well, that too.
Well, for me, I just been transitioning. Started
How about
on the last episode. We were in Salt Lake City. Since then, I've been passed through Nevada, Arizona, California, back on the East Coast, where we've just been, a little busy. From New York down right now, North Carolina, and just excited to be on the same time zone as my family. Back on with the brothers, and excited to get into this conversation. Eager to hear what Bryant has been holding back.
Holding back. All right, our resident doomsday preparer, Steve.
Everything's been going good. Been traveling and whatnot, but everything's been going decent for the most part. Been blessed. And looking at things from a lot of people's perspectives and whatnot. Just trying to keep the crazy down. You know what I mean? Not feed into the frenzy that is the
Mm,
society at this point.
mm. That's
All
a whole
right.
sermon and a half right there. But go ahead, Bryant.
All right. So I'm okay. And of course, we know when a man says he's okay, sometimes he's not.
Mhm.
For sure.
Sometimes he is not okay. Um, so let me just go ahead and just get into the story. Since not our last podcast, but maybe the one where we brought in Quick and we were talking about health transformation and changes. The one where I got clowned and none of y'all stepped in the gap to kind of stop some stuff. Um, I have been on a walking journey and that has been a form of exercise to build up endurance and also just I call it healthier than yesterday tour. Since then, I have tried to maintain at least about a 10,000 step count per day. Um, and on the weekends, I usually try to increase that to close to 18,000, 20. And I have lost about 26 pounds.
Get out of
Um,
town, bro.
yeah, and I've incorporated this clear stuff. I don't know where it is. It's I think it's called water. I've incorporated that into
Wow.
my system.
Bryant, wait. Right,
Welcome.
right. Wait.
What?
Bryant is drinking water?
Yeah,
Mr. Soda, kidney stone extraordinaire.
and that happened 1.5 times. I think the last stone kind of disintegrated. I'm worried because there's probably something still floating around. um,
Mercy.
but yes, I've
That's
been
what's good,
drinking
bro.
this clear Pepsi Clear. Let's just say that Pepsi. It's
Pepsi
been water.
clear.
I've been drinking water. I've got a couple of these bottles. Keep one in the car. One one at work. And so I try to maintain this step count. And since we've been in the building, I get to work really early. Like I'm at work at 5 in the morning, which means I'm up in the 3:45, 4 range, and everything's set up. So I am walking. I try to at least get two. Three is the max, but I try not to do that at work because you can get sweaty, and nobody wants to be around somebody kind of funky in the cubicle world. So I
Mhm.
do about 2 hours. That's about not 2 hours, 2 miles, which takes about maybe 40 minutes. Because and the way my building is, it's like a big square. So I'm able to walk around. Well, I've been walking, listening to music, just minding my business. It's dark, ain't no one else there. Maybe a handful of people that get in that early. Most people come in after 6 or 7:30, around that time. So I'm walking, just minding my business, and I get my steps in, and I'm posting, letting people know, like, hey, you can. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just move. Um, about 3 days ago, or maybe 4 days ago. Yeah, it was about 4 days ago. It was a Wednesday. My supervisor comes to me, and he lets me know that there is a white lady in the building who feels threatened with me walking around. Now I was like, okay, what floor? Maybe I can avoid the floor. It was like, nah, it's floor 16. Now I work on floor 16. I've been working on the 16th floor for about maybe two, 3 years. Before then, the 17th floor. So I've been in the building, and I've been at this job for 24 years now. So I don't see anyone when I'm walking. There's really no one there. It's dark, so I'm able to walk in peace. Now they have walking groups that walk like around lunchtime, but there's a lot of people, and you get tired of waving and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" and stuff like that. So while he was telling me, he was upset. Um, he was. I felt myself calming him down. And my natural default was to, okay, well, if she feels that type of way, I would have wished she would have came to me because I thought, I'm a happy Negro. I walk around smiling and stuff, non-threatening. My hair is, the way it is, not threatening hairstyle or anything. And I'm wearing a polo shirt and I have on my badge, so I'm supposed to be in there. I go through security just like everyone else. But if she feels some type of way, I said, well, maybe let me remove the color issue and look at it as, a female male perspective. You don't know me. You look up and you see this person walking past. Now, I don't see her because I walk in the main hallways. I don't walk in between people's cubicles. because I believe in, cubicle etiquette and respect. If I ain't got to come see you, I don't need to come walk past your area. I thought about going to a different floor. Um, and so it sat with me, and I was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. So the next day, and my supervisor told me, you just walk your path. And I was like, well, I'll think about it. The next day I walked, and it was the worst walk that I've ever had, because I spent most of my time looking around, just trying to see
Mm,
who this person might be. Whatever music I was listening to wasn't calming my spirit. It wasn't affecting my peace. It wasn't. I think I was it started stress eating cookies, because I was just it was just throwing things off, because I had given up like a lot of sugar, sodas. I was just trying to be a healthier version. But that day, that Thursday, I it was the worst walk. It was on my mind. My supervisor wanted to talk to me, asked me if I what I do, and I told my team. I told my team and told my wife, and I was just going to leave it at that. Um, and everyone was hugging me. My supervisor wanted to talk to me, and as we were talking, I was just again that tired feeling, and I broke down. To be honest, I broke down in the office. I got up and just walked away. It was like I said, I just can't talk about this anymore, because I'm I'm tired. I ain't cursed tired, but I was tired.
mm,
Left work early, and then I was just like, "Ah." But then I thought, why am I just holding on to this? I need to let people know, if I'm being transparent about my healthy journey, I've got to let people know that there may be some bumps in the road. So I posted on Facebook, a transparent moment, very long, and some people chimed in. A lot of people used some tear emojis, angry emojis, saying, "Don't stop walking, don't do this and that." And I felt I felt validated. I felt heard. And so in just thinking about that, I was like, why as men, we kind of suffer in silence sometimes. We hold on to things, it's not, I don't know if it's toxic masculinity. But it'd be nice if y'all have had an experience similar to that, or something where you suffered in silence, what did you do? How did you overcome it? Because I told my team, I was like, it's going to be a while before I can walk with a clear mind again. Now, yesterday, my wife and I, we walked 5.5 miles, and it was good, because that's usually our time to connect, to talk, to just talk about anything and everything. And of course, after this, probably this is during my walking time. So I'm gonna hurry y'all up so I can get out there and get my steps in.
okay.
But you know, tomorrow I got to go to the building, and it'll be the first time since, well, second time since being out there. And so I'm hoping that I have a clear mind. But I got a conference, so I may not be able to do all that. But again, if any of you have an experience where you suffered in silence, and like, what did it take out of you? What did you do in order to um, correct it? And just also, while you're thinking about that, also think about this. Why do we as men feel reluctant to share our feelings when we've experienced trauma, a traumatic
Mm.
experience? So doesn't matter who, just just chime in.
Well, well, you know what? I'm gonna begin this by saying this is probably one of my this is probably one of the suits that does not work well with me at all, because I have a very hard time holding my tongue, as Keith probably knows in the
Hold on,
workplace.
let me get
What
over to the censor button. I got you, Steve.
Oh, when I've been done wrong or somebody even in that situation, I just know me. I would have went around and asking people like, "Hey, have you noticed me walk?" I've been asking
Mm,
He
everybody that
would.
say, "Hey, are
He
you?"
would.
I'm telling you. So to be honest with you, sometimes it's not a bad thing to be. I'm not gonna say suffer in silence, but sometimes silence is necessary, because I just know me and my. Ooh, I wouldn't be able to hold it in. You know what I mean? I need to know. who's X, Y, and Z, who, y'all need to come talk to me, X, Y. Keith knows the situation we had where somebody wrote an email and I printed that email out and I put it around the whole entire building. And I
Posted
was
it
going to people
in
like,
his office
hey, y'all see,
for
y'all
all
see
to
this?
see.
Y'all see this email? I was sharing it with everybody. Y'all see this?
Was it a generic email or did it
No,
come from?
No,
It came
no,
from the
no.
person.
came from
It
a
surely
supervisor.
did. It surely did. It surely did. And I don't think me and that supervisor never said not one word to me ever since until my departure. And I don't think I left until like a year later or whatnot. But that's just kind of how that's just me. We gonna talk about this. But again, that's not always a good thing. So sometimes being in silence, I don't say about suffering. That's gonna be another thing. But sometimes silence is good, so that way you do not end up getting fired. For going off the handle. So I don't know if there's been a time I've ever suffered in silence in the workplace. I have to think more about that, like just in general outside the workplace.
Yeah, I'd say, Steve, you bring up a valid, you brought up something in me because, like Proverbs 15:1, it talks about how even a fool is considered wise when he holds his tongue. People think he's smart because he refuses to say anything stupid,
Hmm.
And I'm wondering, even against the backdrop of this conversation, we know there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. But when as men, is it ever appropriate to hold? And when do we need to fold and just like get whatever negative feelings out like you did at work? And I applaud you for even like saying that publicly. It's like, yo, I broke down. Yes, I was not okay. Yes, it was overwhelming to me. And I had a moment. And we have moments all the time. The problem is, most oftentimes, we're not having them in the presence of other people who can help give added perspective that can help shift and get us off the hamster wheel of our own stinking thinking. And so, yes, I have, to answer your first question, I have suffered in silence. I can think of a host of issues from going through divorce to struggling with pornography to having not enough resources to take care of my family by myself and needing to lean on family during a season of life. And it's just like it's it's never a good feeling to um, it's never a good feeling for men usually to get vulnerable. It's like taking off your clothes on the subway. And
I've seen that happen. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm sure
DC
you have.
Resort, Chicago,
We see some stuff.
they do that.
DC, yeah, I saw. I didn't see the stuff, but it came pretty close. Dude just ran right past me. I heard he assaulted somebody on the train naked.
Plus, it's hard to fight a naked person, but
Yeah, it's like
never mind.
yeah, but I I'll say all that to say that yes, I've been there. I absolutely feel like we need to have community, which is what our Iron Table continuously preaches, where like safe space, people who've earned the right to be there for you, to see you break down, and to be with you while you're not okay until you transition. And they don't have to have the right words. They don't have to have, just like people who can just, bro, I'm here, the ministry of presence. Um, but against the backdrop of Proverbs 15:1, I'm wondering if it's time if there's ever a time in this context to just like, what, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just going,
Mhm.
so more questions that I have than answers, probably.
All right, Otis.
Like, man, devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So if we
Mhm.
still here, we didn't get raptured. That's y'all fault. So I'm sorry that lady stole your peace and
She
attempted to
stole
steal
it.
your joy through the kingdom of the devil with them lies and the insecurity she created. But I'm glad, like Danny said, you had the wherewithal to talk about it. Now, me, I feel like I told you when you told me, do you need me pull up? Because I walk with you with my picket sign.
The
What you
crazy
looking at?
thing is that everybody I told
Mm-hmm.
was angrier than me, and now I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm like, walking is a less violent movement than marching. You know that, right? So we could have walked. I had people ready to throw chairs.
No, tell this lady.
I don't even know who she is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I told you, get a T-shirt, put it on. She gonna read it from the 16th floor. She gonna look down to see you again, and she gonna read what's on your T-shirt. Mind your business. That's T-shirt 1. That's Monday. What you looking at?
Walk.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
One walk, and then my favorite. One walking or 20 marching. Because we ready.
Mm. Mm.
That's
We
more than
ready.
20. I had
Because
people
like you
ready to
said,
come out.
walking is not a violent activity. That might be my
Exactly.
shirt. Walking
Yeah.
is not about. It's just like what.
And the
I
And
sad
feel,
thing
as
is
they
you
that
say,
know
I
what?
feel threatened too. Because that's the favorite word. I feel,
Mm.
I don't know who this is. And I feel like you're not even on the same, like, you're not even nowhere near this woman. So for them to
Yeah.
come in and
And
tell
you've
you,
been doing it so consistently
yes, you've been doing it,
that if something bad was going to happen,
it would already happen. Minding your business. So I feel threatened that I'm being watched without my permission. I would make it real
um,
stupid.
and
But you,
the
but you
the
know
crazy,
what? You.
I was gonna say the
Mm,
crazy thing is that I found myself looking at white women, wondering if this is that person for everyone that I did not know. And I know that not all white people are mean or evil or anything
mm-hmm.
like that. But again, that ruined my day. That Thursday, I didn't even stay at work. I had to take a mental health day for the rest of the day because I was just like,
Mm.
I'm not me. Worried about her feelings and her peace in
yeah, no.
spite of my own health.
Jericho, wall of Jericho. Man, just you keep walking.
Right.
Keep walking. As you
Right.
But you
say.
know
Keep
what?
walking.
You know what? I want you to also consider, and I wouldn't leave it out the realm of possibility because I've seen corporations do this. As silly as it is, as preposterous as it is, just have an understanding that we live in a society, in a time frame right now of disinformation. Right. Um, Always keep in the back of your mind in the possibility because corporations and entities that we work for are not always in the best interest of us, and sometimes they're trying to get sometimes rid of people who they can kind of get rid of or whatnot because
That's why
sometimes
they come down.
when they're told certain things they act in a certain way to oh, now we can fire you. There might be the real possibility there may not even exist a woman that said anything to you or about you, and they're
So if I
just
came
trying to
down
get
there,
rid of.
if I came down there,
So
you
that
would get fired.
oh yeah, you see what I'm saying? So and like my thing is looking at it from a logical perspective. I've seen corporations and businesses actually just create chaos sometimes just to get rid of people. Kind of
Yeah.
like reminiscent of how society is right now. So
Yeah.
there's a possibility like this lady doesn't even exist.
Right.
They're trying to
Right.
Oh
you a
no,
good employee. Uh,
she
Right.
exists because her supervisor came to talk to mine. So and he asked me. He said a name. I can't even remember what the name is because I went to the place of shock and like, whoa.
It's like
And
for real.
again, I thought, and forgive me for thinking this, being in the government for 24 years, making a certain amount of money, reaching a certain level, I thought that okay, that I was
You have pigment,
excluded
Bryant.
from that.
Pigment.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I said if I come up there, she will be so appreciative
mm,
of you for not being me that
mm,
Yeah.
you be welcome to
Now,
her.
I will say, yeah, I probably would be petty too. I probably come up with a new song that
mm-hmm.
if I can't see her, she can at least hear my new song while I'm walking.
While I
Oh
walk.
my Jesus.
Mm-mm.
Walking
No.
around
Mm.
singing
With
something
bells and whistles.
nefarious.
And the interesting,
I
Yeah.
told him get
there
one
are
of them
people that I
reflective
see.
vests,
I will say this: there
bells and
are
Or,
people
whistles.
that I see on
or
different
get a hat
floors.
with a propeller on. And walk around.
Now I've seen some people on different floors, and and I I'll say hello, and I think they've gotten again. Everyone who sees me has gotten used to seeing me um, walking,
We should
and
get a T-shirt for you. It says "Non-threatening black man who likes to walk."
Ooh
I'm
wee.
telling you,
Yep. Right there.
that's day 4. I said I got all these ideas for shirts. Wear them every day.
you do know I work in a government building and need to go to work professional, right?
What's bad about that?
You on your
You just
break. You could
walking.
be 15 minutes in a t-shirt while you walk. You can take that t-shirt right off after you put it over top of your clothes. This is strictly to make the white woman acknowledge where we are.
Okay, yeah.
You're safe. Ain't
I,
nobody
wa-
think
I,
about you. I'm on my own
she might
walking
find this
journey.
podcast.
I do not care.
She
But
watching you,
going
Bryant.
to
She
the point of
watching you.
suffrage,
I'm
we
telling you, look, let's place a bet because y'all heard it here first. This lady don't exist.
He's trying to say it's a CON
is
conspiracy.
spirits.
Nah, this person
I'm
exists.
telling you.
No.
Got
But
to.
going
All
back
right.
to the question about suffrage, yes, as I personally believe that we are wired to absorb more
Mm,
without responding. But when we
mhm,
respond,
Mm.
mm,
have mercy.
mhm, mhm,
But I'll put it this way, and it's not all women, because some women do go through this too, but most women are very expressive to the point where they'll even remind you, I carried you for 9 months and went through 20
mm,
hours of labor. Like they're gonna remind you of their suffrage. Where I will say, men, we typically a lot of times we forget and we have to be reminded that we went through because I got the
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Danny.
Yeah.
I told y'all, y'all telling me stuff like, wait, what?
Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah,
Yep.
that did happen.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
a lot of us are wired to push through, push through, push through, push through. So I say that to say, I'm glad you were cognizant in the moment. You had people there to support you, and you're gonna get through this. This is one of the dumb things
Mhm.
that remind us of the world we live in, and we
Yeah,
hate these
Mhm.
I
reminders.
know it's going to take some time. It's going to take
Mhm.
some time. Okay, so um, that was part one. Part two, we're gonna really talk about this word validation. What does validation or being validated do for a man?
Oh,
It pushes his chest out.
Puts oxygen in his lungs,
Mm-hmm.
So it fills him up. That's
picks him up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
so one of the conversations I've had, not in at home and even at work, is talking about validation. And does validating one's experience and feelings mean you totally agree with what they're going through, or that you acknowledge that their experience is real for them?
I think
So
it's different for everybody though. You got to ask that question, like what is? And a lot of times I talking to couples and they're saying, hey, I need him to validate me, or I need him to reassure me, or she, or whatever it is. And I just got to ask them, okay, that's fine, but first and foremost, not only do you need to tell that person what validation looks like for you, do you even know at this point in
Hmm.
time? Because you're just saying a word and that you've heard everybody say, but you probably don't even know
You don't
what
even know.
validation is. And that goes not even just for validation, but apologies or reassurance, all those particular things. We ask for these things, but we don't even know what it is that we need. So we got to ask first because it's different for everybody and it looks different for everybody. What does that even mean for me? And once I figure out what that means and what that looks like, I have to let that person know, hey, this is what I need. It's almost like love languages, like we've talked about before, right? They got the love languages, but they also have an apology languages too as well. There's a book on that. There's languages in each different type of category that we could talk about. So validation is his own language too, that it differs from each person. And we gotta start asking these questions, not of the other person first, but of ourselves. What does it look like for me? So that way I can communicate to the other person, hey, in order for you to validate me, this is what it looks like, and this is what I need from you. And then it's vice versa. Okay, you're gonna probably need me to validate you. What does it look like for you? healthy conversation, communication. But in this day and age, that don't exist.
Mm.
Okay, so does it mean that I like if I'm going through something? Oh, these funny lights. That it that you're supposed to say, okay, you know what, that is real. You that really happened. I'm sorry, or is it? Oh, I'm you know like oh okay. Why do you feel that way? Like I always thought validation opens communication, and it doesn't feel like it's always that you totally agree with me, or we use the words "I agree." You're right. But validation is just always just acknowledging. You know what? It from your lens that could be true, or that is true. Let's talk about it to see if that is, if we give context. Keith and I always talk about context as not being, given an excuse. Because I think sometimes when we talk to those that we love and they're upset with us and we're giving, we're giving context, it's easy to look at it as some type of excuse. And like, no, let me give you all of the picture. And then whatever decision you make after that, I can rock with that because you got all of that. Oh, these lights are funny today. I'm going to keep my hand on this button. So validation, what does it mean to you guys? And, is it,
Mm.
and again, for a man, how important is it for a relationship? How important is it?
I'll say this from the perspective of somebody who's had to interact with a variety of different people, even from my previous career as an educator. There were often times where I had a parent or even a student who was irate, who was just like fired up and ready to fight.
Hmm.
What I found to be extremely helpful is just hearing somebody out. So are you saying X, Y, Z, elemental P,
Mhm.
and that you're feeling A, B, C, D, E, F, G? And they're like, yeah, I understand that. And you got the and ministry. You go into whatever. But what I found is that oftentimes when you are able to successfully restate somebody's experience, it just
Mhm.
drops all of the ammo out of that gun that they shooting your way because
Mhm.
they're they're trying to be heard, and at the point that you've demonstrated that I actually heard you, they don't have no more. Like that's the whole point. And then they're okay abiding by whatever it is that you have to say, upholding whatever policy, giving whatever, because you heard me and I understand that this was the rule before. I just was frustrated. I needed to get this out. And once I'm heard, it's then I don't have to keep yelling, screaming, huffing, puffing, doing the absurd. And I don't know. I think that getting to the place where we can agree to disagree. I'll say this, Van, that since our last podcast, I'm going to bring him up. Charlie Kirk, so the algorithm can pick it up. Charlie, all right, he died. That's all we're going to say. And but what was interesting is Van Jones, who
Oh,
is on the complete opposite spectrum. And Van will tell you, we are not friends. We never were friends. And if he was alive, we never probably would be friends. But Charlie Kirk sent Van a message like the day before he died. And he, in this message, was affirming the right to have civil discourse where
okay.
they could agree to disagree perfectly, where they could have an exchange, know that they're never going to see eye to eye, but be able to make sure that each other's perspective was seen and heard. And I think that the ability to understand what somebody is saying who you disagree with, I think that's a superpower that we've lost as a society. I think that's the reason why we're at each other's throats. I think that's why the seed of division is so prevalent among us
Yeah.
because we don't know how to sit with somebody who is saying something that we don't agree with and say, you know what, I see it from your perspective, but I disagree.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's validating right there. Yes.
mm. You know, in a being able to say even just what it means to me personally, I think as a man, I definitely value if I come to somebody with a problem and I want them to validate me. My validation looks like you being willing to problem solve with me. You know what I mean? Not only just acknowledge that hey, you feel a certain I'm they acknowledging that I feel a certain way about it, but being able to just say okay, cool. So what are you going to do, or what can we do to make this either problem go away, make it less, or whatever, anything like that. But being able to take the time out and problem solve with me lets me know that you care enough about how I feel to make sure either this doesn't happen or to see me through it with problem solving. So for me, problem solve sitting taking time and sitting there to problem solve with me shows validation for me.
Okay. All right, come on, Keith. I know
No,
you got a word.
I have so many examples in my head, but validation. Because like Steve said, it can look like so many different things in so many different ways. But it's necessary. But even before we get to that place of defining what it looks like to us,
Mhm.
being reminded that you are worthy of it. A lot of men have been broken and stripped down to
Yeah.
the point where they don't even feel, or they're made to feel bad for needing. You're a guy. You're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to need validation. You're supposed to
Mm.
take this hit on the ton and get up and keep moving. But what they don't know that the previous generations did is that you gotta pour into this man.
Yeah.
Um, but I've heard some say where he all right. He's supposed to be able to take this. He's a man, and to not validate his experience, whether it be his childhood, his upbringing, or just the difference in how he was raised. Because sometimes with couples, that's where a lot of the conflict comes from. We come from two different backgrounds. We merge together into this new relationship, and it's hard to grow. But in many relationships, there's this hypocrisy where, as a woman, I need to be validated and cared for, but your feelings, your
Hmm.
thoughts, your needs are based on if I feel you're worthy or not.
Mm. Mm.
So
Wow.
getting to this space where we realize there's room on the table for everybody,
Mhm.
that forces us to a place where we actually start to think, what do I want? What do I need? Because a lot of us men don't even know what we want and need. So when we're
Mhm.
asked, we can't articulate. We've never had anybody actually care before, or they care as long as they can get something out of us. So
Mm.
being able to say at work, at home, people in your life that my thoughts and feelings are real. Um, and I like what Danny said about sometimes just listening. In this field I'm
Mhm.
in, I've had people sit down and tell me that they are Jesus Christ who has
Hmm.
returned to earth, and I had to sit and listen to
Mhm. With a
Okay.
these
straight face.
with a straight face.
I had Cleopatra,
Right.
and it was a
I've
dude,
had a few
and
people.
it was a dude.
So, something that you said, Keith,
But
that
my way, I would say the outcome of those situations always flow better, even when I just sit and I listen. I think we go to God a lot of times with the to God. It feels
you
like
want to
this
give
is the
Danny a
dumbest
moment.
thing ever. But God listens when we pray. He
He
knows we're going to be
does.
okay, and He reassures us. But I'm sorry, what's your question?
All right. Give Danny a moment to
Recover.
get
That is funny.
recover. Yeah.
That
So
is funny.
something that you said that really stuck out, where you said for some in some relationships, some couples, a woman will need to feel validated like all the time, but her validation of a man or another man is based on if she feels it, not if, and that doesn't feeling does
Mm.
not does not say if someone has earned it, or because you could have earned it, but if a person doesn't feel it, then
That's what leads to the
that's
letdown. Because a lot of us are
Hmm.
doing things to earn the love, earn the affection, earn the attention, earn the validation, and when it comes back void, we're bankrupt
and then it probably
emotionally,
makes a
mentally,
man feel
physically,
like I'm
spiritually.
not going to do anything, or I can't go to you for the validation, which then opens the door for
Hmm.
someone else to validate.
Yeah, and a lot of times when that happens, it's a slippery slope. You got that that Diddy baby oil on the slide, and yeah,
And Johnson and
you gotta be
Johnson just came back
real
from that.
careful.
Johnson and
Hmm.
Johnson just came back from that, man. Now we just sent them back
Listen,
a couple of couple of months again. Come on.
But you know what? And this speaks to what society is going to or whatnot. And it's very important that we realize how we consume things kind of shapes us as human beings, especially when we're talking about validation. I was reading a book that's talking about like how the internet is kind of changing our minds on how we interact with other human beings, and it's talking about how looking at videos, content on social media, posts or anything like that, and we see something and it's funny X, Y, and Z, and then we read comments. The comments isn't really to see what other people are saying about it. It's to validate that we feel like this is funny. Well, let's see if anybody else thinks it's funny. Let's see if anybody else thinks it's bad X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
And that's all. And that's all fine and dandy until you introduce what the internet has now become. Because a lot of the comments are just bots trying to get people to fight with each other and whatnot and get
Agitate.
people to and agitate. So my thing is now I'm looking for validation from the comments, and we unconsciously are doing this, but I'm not getting validation from these particular things that really don't exist, and it's creating me to be able to, when I need to talk to somebody else in real life and get some validation, we really don't know how to do it, because guess what, every time that I see somebody commenting on something on these particular devices that we use all the time, it's always disagreement. It's always disagreement. That's where you're seeing people being more aggressive now in real life, being more aggressive driving in the stores or whatnot. We're relearning not how to be able to agree with each other. So I think even in trying to learn validation, sometimes we got to turn certain things off. Sometimes we got to watch a video for what it is or look at a post for what it is, and sometimes maybe leave the comments to itself. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wish they could kind of just turn off comments sometimes, because we're not getting real, and it's giving us a false sense of what validation is really looking like. But I want people to start thinking about it like we're unconsciously looking at comments and posts and videos, not to see really what everybody else is talking about, but for validation that we of what we feel the video is relaying to us. So just something to think about.
No, I agree. I mean, spending a lot of time, it's going to have some type of effect. Um, I remember my son was asking me, about this podcast and YouTube. He was like, "How many views do you have?" I was like, "Son, I really don't care. I mean, because the main thing is influence. I'm not trying to influence the masses. I'm trying to reach just one person, and just that one person means that that's who it was meant for." I agree. If people are looking at the comments, eh, hey, more power to you. It's somebody that you don't know, probably has no real vested interest in your success or your failure. And they
Or
just
doesn't exist.
are you doing this doesn't exist thing. Do I exist?
I'm, I'm just saying, like if I mean, you can see it in any post that you're looking at. You can click on the person's page that has just like said something just outrageous to something, or just something that's just so left field or right field. And this person, you're like, well, hold on, they only have two comments, and they just subscribed or whatever yesterday, or just came into existence yesterday, like, and then got a crazy picture. It's there's and again, I'm saying this because of just reading some books and looking at some videos, man. They have bot farms in other countries, like
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
thousands
Yep.
thousands of them that are made to, they're put out there just to sway people a certain way. And you're looking at some of these comments like, why would somebody say something like that? Why that's so crazy? X, why would they this or why would they say something so outrageous? It's being it's being fabricated for us to kind of get a not get an understanding, but to start thinking a certain way.
Thinking
So
the way they want us to think. Yeah.
exactly. So my thing is like in order for us to come back to reality, sometimes we got to turn certain things off and see it for what it is right now. So that way we can start thinking clear. Because guess what? That seeps over into our relationships. Not only just man and woman, but our relationship with our kids, relationships with our bosses, relationships with our coworkers, relationships with people that we are just out in the world with, whether it be on the freeway, grocery stores, or whatever. And we're turning into these comment sections right now. That's what it looks like. The whole world is just a comment section.
So before we get too far off, do y'all have any tips, tricks, something to give to the brothers out there who, in order to kind of help them to get validation from the person in which they're trying to get it from, not force it, but to kind of direct it where they get maybe closer to it? Because I can tell when you're arguing over validating feelings, you're not coming out with a soft. And I know the Bible says soft answer turns
Hmm.
away wrath, or but how we gotta leave the people with something.
I'm gonna say it right here. I'm gonna leave it alone. You gotta validate your own self,
Exactly.
Glory.
and
Yep.
not be looking for one artist put it like this: if you live for their acceptance, you can substitute the word validation. If you live for their acceptance, you're gonna die from their rejection. And so we've got to understand that what God said is enough. What God said
Mhm.
about
Just
me,
was getting ready to
that's
say that.
yeah. I don't need David's own daddy would just like he was invisible. It's just like he just didn't even exist. Sammy had to say, is this it? Are these the only? Oh, my bad. I got I do got this.
I do
It's
got
just
one
this
more.
little bit.
He outside.
Yeah,
Did I not say
yeah.
bring all
Somebody go get
sons?
David. He out there? Yeah, tell David come in.
And so what the Lord said to Samuel, we need to bring to the context of this conversation because
Mhm.
man is looking on the outward appearance.
Outside.
Man is going to have
God.
that external opinion. It's
Come
God
on.
who's looking on the heart, and what
The
He
heart.
says is all that matters. That's all I'm saying. Learn how to validate yourself. Everything we
Mm.
know about Jesus, He said about Himself.
Mhm.
Like He wasn't looking for external validation. It was like, okay, yeah, they following me today. Now they're ready to leave me tomorrow. It's just like, okay.
I called
You'll never.
it.
He
Yeah.
he said he put it this way. He said John the Baptist came fasting. You say he had demons. The Son of Man comes eating and drinking. You say he had glutton, the friend of tax. You make you
You gonna say something?
Can't,
You gonna
can't
find
win.
something.
Can't win.
So how you
validate
gonna try?
yourself.
Okay,
Yep.
validate yourself.
And that's it. And hold
That's
on to
it.
what the truth of what God said about you, and
Yep.
let every man, every bot, every feminine
Mhm.
demonic spirit from the pit of hell. I'm sorry.
Somebody heard what you said too. We're gonna get a comment about that. Someone that little you said it's low. Yeah, we
Mhm.
can't we can't
Mhm.
Caucasian this. We can't do that.
Censor me. I'm gonna
No.
do my Kermit the Frog.
So if for many years, and I always say like a habit, it takes a long time to undo habits or ways of life. If I, and I'm going to use me, if I have been looking for validation from, you know, from my wife, my partner, how do I change from not? Because that it almost seems like that's almost similar to not caring and indifference.
Seems
Mm.
like it. It's different.
Seems like it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta explain the difference because there's somebody who's like, you basically telling me not to care
Yeah,
if she
that's like
validates
saying a
me.
little kid doesn't want validation from his parents. Like you, as humans, like you said, like that, it's important to have. I'm saying that we can't base
our
The
yeah.
Existence.
come on, help me out, brothers. Help me out.
We can't base our whole existence on whether they give us one or two compliments or not.
Yeah,
There's some things we do because, like, well, I'll speak for myself. I tell everybody my first objective of the day, whether I pass or fail, is to please God. So
Mm-hmm.
if I don't hear any feedback, pros, cons, you cannot bless or curse me because if I did what God asked me to do that day, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Yep.
I have the joy of the Lord. I have went out, helped the homeless, went out, mentored a child, went to visit the sick or those who are locked up. Like again, if I'm doing things that bring fulfillment, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
looking for you to tell me that I need to be in a mansion driving a Maserati. Like, because
So are we some
those are not the
unfulfilled people?
things that motivate. Those are not the things that will inspire me to be a better person. So that type of validation falls on deaf ears because the mission or the goals are not aligned. But when you are trying to explain to others what you need, because sometimes we do need validation, and sometimes
yes,
we do need to hear that we're on the right track, or that
yes.
we're growing, because that's one of the one. I don't want to be stagnant, and even when things don't feel like they're moving, like a lot of human beings, I'm like I'm with y'all. When things seem like they're not moving, my fear or concern is, are they stagnant? So sometimes I need God to tell me, or even my wife has said, we're it's okay. It's we good, and so okay,
And
just leave it.
you have a present tense, a good wife.
Yes,
There you go, right there, right there.
so,
That part right there. You gotta because if you are not even, I'm not even gonna say validated, but there's different ways of how you can validate somebody. But if there's anybody on earth that you will want validation from, and it can come in a different types of ways, should be your spouse. But that
yes,
also
Yes,
means you have to communicate with them.
yes,
Hey, this is what I need from you, and what do you need
yes,
from me? Let's make this work. Everybody else, maybe your children too, sometimes, but they'll disappoint you. It is what it is. But your spouse, sometimes, out of everybody in the world, hey, I don't care. I'll give you an example. I There was a situation where um I got my, I think I told you guys I bought my girl a 79 triple blue Corvette with 30,000 miles on it, right? For her one of her birthdays in the past. It came to be that the person that was working on the car went to the spot, and all the cars were gone. Nothing there. Cars were gone. Nothing in the shop. I'm panicking at this point. I'm thinking like I done heard people do away with ripping people off, getting their cars. Long story short, we got the car back. Everything is fine. It was a huge misunderstanding or whatnot. But the thought in my head was I disappointed her
Hmm.
because I chose the X Y do. I've disappointed her, so I have to make sure that she is not disappointed by correcting this particular thing. So when we're talking about validation and disappointment, making sure that we are doing things that people like or whatnot, definitely your spouse should be one of those people that you do not want to disappoint. That you make sure are validating. I'm not going to put that energy that I felt when getting of retrieving this car back on anybody else but her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that in that same sense, validation, this is my spouse. I should be putting that energy into this person because if we try to put that energy to every single person that we meet, or every single family member, or every single friend, it's not to say that sometimes you don't do it. We don't have any bandwidth because it goes back to that hierarchy. In my eyes, the hierarchy is God, your spouse if you got one, your kids, then you, then family, then family, everybody else after that. But your spouse comes second only to God.
Yeah.
So that energy should be directed towards them. But again, also understanding if we're not validating ourselves with God too as well, and making sure that, like Keith, you said, doing right by God first. How could we even expect to be validated by anybody else at this point in time? If we're not validated by God and ourselves. And then also, I guess, what does that even look like to certain people? What does validation from God look like?
That's gonna have to be a part two. It's we already passed our allotted, not our allotted
Brian,
recording
you are
time.
not validating my feelings. I want to talk about it. You are not validating my.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it, Steve.
Validate
Come
me.
on.
Validate me. I'm Cleopatra. Okay, validate me.
Oh goodness, not again. Okay, we will talk about that. You want to talk about? We can talk about it now.
I'm
You're
just
right.
playing with you,
I
baby.
know you're
I'm
just
just
playing with
playing.
me,
this is
but
why
somebody's
we have
watching and will
these.
be like, Bryant doesn't validate. After all this stuff he said, at the end of the day, he did not
See,
validate.
but look what you just did though. He said somebody said, somebody gonna say,
Somebody gonna
somebody gonna
say,
see, somebody gonna say.
Yeah,
And if they say it, let them say it. So what?
because there's a
yeah,
time and place for everything under the sun. Sometimes it is time not to co-sign foolishness. I'll call it.
BS, BS. You'll say it. Just say it.
I want to say
Ooh,
it. I'm.
I
Well,
be
this is
telling
this
people all the
man.
time, don't, don't,
this is
don't,
a
don't come
clean
in the,
podcast. We haven't used
mm,
the censor
don't
button
come
yet.
in,
Let's
come
not
into
do that.
therapy because I'm gonna co-sign your
Warm it
BS.
up. Warm that button up.
Mm-mm,
Got my
mm-mm.
finger of censor. No,
We need an iron
well,
table after dark.
no, we could, but that's
Uncut.
we gonna have to make sure we explain what that is.
Wait a minute, hold on. That sound like a. Never mind. Let me stop.
Yes, that's why we have to explain it. That's
We gotta
Yeah,
explain
nah.
it.
so. Thanks, but before we go,
Title.
two things. I got to get this off my chest. Steve, you need to watch the Temptations movie.
Okay. All right. Here you gonna put me out there like that. All right.
Yeah,
I don't feel.
there is the number one saying in all of Black culture: "Ain't nobody came to see you, Otis." There were
Mm.
kids that probably were going to be named Otis that year that got dropped. It was like, nah, we gonna call him Cleophas or something. We are not naming our child Otis. And then, secondly, this is for Danny because I don't know when the next time I'm going to see you. You have made me dislike about 97% of Boys to Men songs. I was listening to Please Don't Go Away From Me. And even in the beginning, I was like, girl, I'm sorry. I'm asking sorry for what? What did you do? And I like that song. That song came out, it was like a powerful ballad, and now you have made it a cliche.
You're welcome.
I hate you.
Start listening to some of these songs you like. Don't Rick James got a song called "She Was Only"?
No,
What's
no,
the age?
it
She
was
was only
17.
16. Yeah,
17,
16.
Is it
16,
16, 17?
17. Yeah, it was a hit
It had
too.
a teen in it, yes, back then.
Yeah,
But
it was
no.
a hit.
We are talking about Boys to Men and how Danny has turned
Yeah.
My
an
fault,
You
brother.
can't listen.
R&B legend.
2025, they don't. Yeah.
Nobody's listening to them now.
Yeah.
Even how it's like, dun, 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 dun. Hey girl, I'm sorry. And then now I hear
Yeah.
Danny's voice for what?
Now I see why
What did you
Mike
do?
had to go first. Nah, Mike got to go.
Yeah, it's like
It's like,
you
ain't got
messing with
nothing to do with whether or not he can dance. That
Got to go.
monologue, yeah, Mike, he
Mike got
every
to
got
go. Oh,
monologue he
he
had, he
got
was
to
saying,
go.
I messed up,
Bye,
I'm
Mike.
wrong. You
Bye.
cheated on me, it's okay. So now I can't. Is Let It Snow? Can I listen to Let It Snow or
Let
is
us know
something
it's
wrong
all
with
find
that?
right
out.
in December.
Only in December.
Only
Okay.
in December.
Okay. All right. Well, but I just had to get that off my chest, and everyone needs to hear that you have turned Boys to Men against me. I can't listen to them.
You have been awakened. You're welcome.
Right,
No,
you
I
woke
want
now,
the
bro.
red
You
pill.
woke
Let me
now.
go back to I listen to Motown Philly and on bended knee and I'm out in the
No.
middle of the desert with my shirt and the wind blowing, but the sand ain't moving and
Oh
there's the
yeah,
piano somewhere in the
you
corner.
definitely want the red pill. Ooh wee. Ooh.
No, but
Mm.
it's changed. But I just wanted to acknowledge that. So
Shame on you, Danny. Ruin this
uh,
man's red
Thank
pill
you.
experience.
fellas, I
Thank you.
just want to thank you again. This was therapeutic for me, especially to talk about my walking experience. Thanks for encouraging me, for making me laugh with the threats of nonviolent violence. A lot of picketing, and I've told
Oh
Keith
yeah.
before, dude, you in the back making buttons. I can't put you on the lunch counter when we need a peaceful movement. So, but I know I got a village and I got people out there. So before we wrap up, y'all closing final thoughts, parting words. But how do I say that? Here we go. Parting words or final thoughts.
I'll go first. Parting words. Devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Don't let this world steal your joy, steal your peace. If you change your mind and you want me to come up there, I will come up there. I might get you fired.
Please don't.
A little
Don't
bit.
cry.
But
How you get a little bit fired?
listen, I might get you
A
fired a little bit.
little bit.
But we gonna find out who it is.
No.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll find out.
I guarantee we can
We
find out who it is, though.
we gonna
We
find
we
out.
could find out
We
who it
gonna
is.
walk that 16th floor and
Yeah,
they
we
gonna
gonna
tell on her.
find you.
We
We
gonna
gonna find you. Hide your kids. Hide your
hide your
wife.
wife
No.
because we gonna find it.
Oh, thank you for making me remember that. Oh my God, what's his name?
Angela
Oh, I could
something.
just hide you. Oh, I could see his
That's
face now.
it.
Gee, thanks, Danny.
That's
Thanks,
those are my parting words. Hide your kids.
thanks.
Hide your wives.
Hide
Hide
your
your
husbands, because
husbands.
you know what? I
All right.
have.
Someone else, please.
Oh,
We gonna
learn to
find
validate yourself. Learn to validate yourself
Mhm.
through the lens of God before looking for it from anyone else, and then go from there.
See what Keith did? See, follow that
Unpl-
model. Follow
No,
that
don't.
model.
You want him to follow me?
them. We
Because
gonna find
you know what you know what I learned. It's not anybody but Keith. Keith is. I asked Keith. I said, Keith, when y'all was in school, I bet you they got in trouble for your shenanigans. You probably did a whole bunch of stuff, and they got caught. Not you. It's Keith. It's
What
him.
I say?
It's him.
I was
Yep.
in a different class, so
I said, "Yep."
I know it is. He said Danny couldn't keep it together, laughing and whatnot. And
I was laughing.
He would
oh,
be
that reminds
laughing.
me. Dean
Danny
Perry
goes,
came in. We were playing video games, and we just rolled out. Someone went through a window, ran past him.
"Oh yeah."
Yeah, it was after times, and we were still playing live '96. So
Jesus.
You old.
I am.
Mm.
All right, Steve.
All right.
Um, just people learn to unplug, man. You know, this world getting a little bit silly right now. Just unplug. We can't hope to fix ourselves if we still tune in to this nonsense that's on the news, social media, whatever it may be. Unplug. Read a book. Something. You know, just unplug.
All right. And I'll just say, when met with struggle, just just measure your response. You know, but
Mm.
to not say you have a right to say your feelings, to say how it makes you feel. Just make sure the setting and the environment is something that won't make things worse.
Hmm.
But holding it in and internalizing it is not always the answer, and we gotta stop doing that. All right, well,
That was very Martin Luther King of you.
It sure was. And you
That
know
was
what? I
very
think I
I
Martin
have
Luther
a
struggle.
King of you.
dream.
Yeah, because that
That was
ain't
so
me. Because
nice.
I know if
and that ain't
Pour
none of
me.
y'all.
out a cup of wrath on these people.
That's
That's
what I'm
the
We
saying.
only
gonna
way.
Wait a minute.
find you.
Is
We
that
That's
that
gonna
Boondock
find
episode
you.
which y'all had me watch? I actually ordered the Boondock series just to watch that one MLK thing, and I was like, wow,
yeah, yeah.
wow.
What is Samuel Jackson's line? I hope time to
Don't
kill.
say it.
I hope she burned it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she deserved to die.
Oh, that only really mutes me. It's never muted y'all. It's just a.
Good to
Oh,
know.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well,
for
that's good to
sure
see.
enough.
All right, fellas. Well, this has been the Iron Table. Iron sharpens iron. So should men sharpen men. Of course, as always, I'm fortunate to have these three guys. They keep me leveled, because if not, I'd probably be looking at things from the mountaintop. So, all right, bros. Well, I'm gonna say I love y'all. I'm glad to see y'all, and hope the rest of this week goes pretty smoothly. All right.
Amen.
Peace.